No Dale Finucane, no Toby Rudolph, but Wade Graham back. Oregon Kaufusi back. Tom Hazelton engaged for his first NRL of the season. Let's get your Friday night going. The 100th meeting between these clubs from Shark Park in the Shire. And here's the Roosters leader, Waria Hargreaves. What a start to the season he has had. Now, Jackson Barlaw, likewise, from front rower to winger. Jackson exciting in his early games after leading South Sydney. Now Lindsay Collins. And Radley. Hoping to get through the full game today. First touch for Tedesco, who dummies and takes the line on. Taking tackle 5, just short of halfway. And Smith goes for Walker. The first set complete. A kick that is towards the eastern side and into touch. It looked a little questionable, but Ronaldo Mulitalo had no urgency, which made me think it was going perilously close to the sideline. It works out well for the Roosters,
yeah,
though.
Tedesco getting himself involved in that first set, which was a good one from the Roosters. Just set up the quick play the ball there for a good kick downfield. As you said, a little bit lackadaisical over there on the left-hand side for the Sharks. Ball just rolls into touch.
Talakai with Cronulla's first carry. Backed up by Oregon Kaufusi, his 5th game as a Shark after playing with Parramatta in last year's grand final. Braden Hamlin-Welle. Brayley out of dummy half, keeps it close to the ruck. Nothing fancy from the Sharks early stages. Teague Wilton, 15 short of halfway through Hines onto Cam McInnes. He's stopped abruptly. Good battle, McInnes and Radley ahead. Here's Nicho Hines, high and long down the ground. Tedesco underneath. He catches safely. Gets those dancing feet going again. It's a ground that Michael Ennis knows and loves so well. Good evening to you, Mick.
Yeah, good evening, Matty. Absolutely beautiful down here in the Shire. A little bit of rain hanging around, no drizzle just yet, but out at ground level with you before the game, the surface is absolutely terrific. Both these sides desperate for a win given their starts to the season. Been nice and physical early, Matty.
Absolutely, you're right. Despite showers all day, the surface fantastic. Didn't seem too slippery. And Jared Waria Hargreaves with sure footing plays it at the 40-metre line for Walker to go high this time. Again out towards Mulitalo with a great jump. He catches safely, cops a bump from Manu and prepares to play it just beyond his 10-metre line.
Well, there was no hesitation that time. The second kick downfield, Mulitalo attacks the footy. There's a good chase through there by the Roosters. Both sides starting off well. Completion will be their main area to start. There's a 6 again and a penalty.
The
Mark
first
is
penalty
not
of the game.
square.
Yeah, the first of them. Victor Radley, the man identified by Grant Atkins, the referee tonight. Chris Butler is in the bunker. Nicho Hines drives it towards the eastern sideline. Big 48 hours for the Sharks. Nicho Hines extending until 2029. Will Kennedy, the fullback, extending today until the end of 2025. The back line is locked in, but not the play the ball right there. Hamlin-Welle gets it wrong. Blake Brayley shot off, but the indiscretion came from his front row forward.
Yeah, it's a terrible play the ball too. It's only the second tackle. Tell you what I did notice, Victor Radley, passing the ball back to go forward, just sprinted off the line speed from the Roosters. You can tell when they're on. They force the first error with their defence.
They make up for the penalty. It's followed by the incomplete set from Cronulla. And the Roosters to start this set in good position. Crowd still filing in the PointsBet Stadium as Swali'i drives his way into the teeth of the defence. Now look at this contact on Waria Hargreaves, but it can't stop the offload for Tedesco. Second phase, he loses his legs. Britton Nikora, the tackle for the Sharks. Set restart. So the best chance of the game early on going to the Roosters. Waria Hargreaves ploughs into Cam McInnes. Busy early Jared. Now Radley to Lindsay Collins. Flat and short, well read by the defence. Brayley down low, Hamlin Welly up top. Brandon Smith. Radley, here's Keary, back at an angle. Swali'i. Good stop, Moylan down low, aided by Teague Wilton. Maria Hargreaves out the back. Bradley pops it over the top, tipped on by Tedesco. Now Swali'i to Tupou. And the defence is handling this all right. Last play. Keary kicking across the ground, out towards Talakai. Still there for the Roosters. Reaching out, finishing just short. Nat Butcher it was. Well, that was desperate for the Sharks.
Yeah, got some great targets, haven't they? The Roosters with their kick chase. Just put on the top of the head of the third man in. Unlucky not to get the grab there. Just tried to knock the ball back rather than catching it on the full. Got to give a rap to the Sharkies defence early. They would have worked on it all week. The first real test, they survived.
A really good start there from the Sharks defensively. Their edges have had their challenges, and it's clear down here at ground level that the Roosters have put a blowtorch straight on the middle third of the Sharks, trying to overpower them through the middle before they move to the edge, and they come up front first there. Cronulla Sharks as they earn a penalty.
So the second penalty conceded by the Roosters in almost the identical position to the first.
I'll tell you what it does, it saves you a lot of energy when you get penalties coming off your own line early in the tackle count. That's the second one to the Sharkies. Made a mistake on the second tackle the first time they got the penalty out of their own end. Let's see what they can come up with now. They've got to complete.
Oregon Corfusi. 23-year-old young prospect, lured to the Shire. Now Cam McInnes for Hines to go flat for Nicola. It's called forward. It wasn't flat. It was worse than that. And there's another example where they receive a penalty and can't complete the following set blocker.
Yeah, it was just a rush play there from Nico Hines. Just overrun it there, Nicola. Just thought he's there, I might as well shovel the ball to him. It's a blatant forward pass. Unlucky they didn't get penalised for that. The Roosters will get the football back.
That is the shot over PointsBet Stadium. We wondered whether it might be played in rain earlier today, but the clouds have generally cleared. As Mick Ennis touched on the surface, fantastic. And up we set for something here. Sharks, Roosters. A couple of top 8 teams from 2022. Still out to find their rhythm early in 2023. There's some defensive rhythm for the Sharks, numbering up on the main man at the Roosters, Waria Hargreaves. And you don't say that lightly, Blocker. At 34 in his 15th NRL season, Waria Hargreaves still playing good rugby league, a juggle from Victor Radley.
You know the thing with him, Matt, he hasn't dropped off. He still plays exactly the same, that aggressive style. And if you don't take it to Waria Hargreaves, he'll run over the top of you. It was a good tackle by Ueli in that start of the set.
Here's Keary going high, this time out towards Sione Katoa. Katoa times his jump brilliantly. Conceded some height to the chasers from the Roosters, but won the aerial battle. And now Ramian tries to carry them out of trouble. Backed up by Katoa again. 3 tackles down, still at their 20-metre line. Nicola. Nico Hines says, let me kick you out of trouble. He was way inside his 40, just tried to pump it up the field. It pulled up quickly, aiding Tedesco. And he almost returns to his 30-metre line.
You just got to back their defence now, the Sharks. So it's a highlight for me, just sitting up here watching at the ground how quick the Roosters' defensive line is. That's why Nico Hines kicked early in the tackle count.
Good go forward from Tupou, who hit the ball at speed. And now Manu. The crowd doesn't like some of these passes out of dummy half from Brandon Smith. Walker down the short side. Egan Butcher. Wrapped up by Hines and McInnes on tackle 5. Walker high. Kennedy couldn't get a jump at the ball. Was it touched by Manu? The answer is yes. And that was a limp finish after the kick.
They haven't really thrown that sort of expansive play that was seen from the Sharks. I know that they haven't completed a couple of their sets, but for them to open up. If they try and take the Roosters on through the middle, they're going to tire themselves out. I like it when they move that ball side to side.
Kennedy doing the tough stuff through the middle. Yep, the 25-year-old announced today he's going to Shark at least until the end of 2025. Talakai pushes the pass, and it's not taken by Hines, but they get another penalty. All the penalties for the Sharks so far, 3 of them.
Well, he's tackled without the ball, just stayed alive back on the inside. Then Nico Hines tackle without the football. Got a fair leg up so far.
Just watch how much Nico Hines touches the football during their sets. Just watching the Roosters, it's all coming off Brandon Smith and Victor Radley at the moment. Halves sitting back waiting for their chances, but it's all Nico Hines for Cronulla, bouncing from one side of the ruck to the other.
Finding Corfusi with that pass. Mwele. In his 6th season as a Shark after 1 game as a Cowboy. Way back when, Moylan to Nikora, who makes an art of those straight lines. So the Sharks find their best position off the back of the 3rd consecutive penalty. McInnes, now Hines, long for Talakai. And Mulatalo's wrapped up by Barlaw. He was running out of room when the ball arrived, Mulatalo, as Brayley goes for McInnes, stopped by Smith and Radley. Last play here, and Hines will hang it in the air. That southeastern corner, it's put down by Barlaw. Wilton flicks it backwards. Is it knock on Roosters here?
It's the first knock on the contest here from you guys. Yeah.
They had the first grab of the ball that time, the Roosters over there on their right-hand side. They're going to challenge this.
Challenge. Got an on-field ruling and knock on Roosters, and then knock on Sharks.
Grant Atkins saw it the way I did, knocked on by Jackson Barlaw in the air.
Looks like he chases cleared is onside. It's a clean run to the ball in a fair contest. Just need to see who the ball comes off of. The ball's definitely hit backwards from Sione Katoa. Just need to see whether the Roosters get a touch on it.
It's Ronaldo Mulatalo contesting the ball. Does it touch Jackson Barlaw as well? Chris Butler with the examination.
The ball's hit backwards from Cronulla, playing on this point, still on the last tackle. There's no touch from the Roosters. The ball's batted back again, still playing on at this point. The Roosters now take possession and the referee blows their whistle, which is mutual infringement. The challenge will be successful. Nat Butcher will play the ball, tackle 0.
So challenge successful.
Tackle 1, isn't it?
Gee, I just wonder if Walker got a touch to the ball and knocked it forward.
Still got your challenge.
Anyway, they're going to get the football back here.
The Roosters keep their challenge. Then get the ball and now roll their sleeves up. After the long review, they get the oxygen back in the lungs. Here's Tupou. Daniel Tupou. 12-year Rooster. 3-time premier at the Roosters. And this ball here across the face of Tedesco. And I'll tell you what, Jared Warrior-Hargreaves did magnificently well to pull that ball in. There's the contest again in the replay box.
Gee, there's plenty of referees out there in the opposition. All yelling out forward pass there. Brendan Smith tried to go one way and then switch it back to the other side of the ruck. I don't know, the ball slipped out of his hands there. It's been a mistake ridden so far. Might have been a hand on his arm there. McInnes, I think it was.
Yeah, just a couple of times there, Block, you could see Brandon Smith wanting to jump out and take the momentum at the ruck, but Tedesco just getting in his road. That combination not quite there just yet, the timing of the two. Brandon just not used to Tedesco, just buzzing around the ruck all the time, and a little confusion in that set.
3 penalties so far, 1 set restart, 4 incomplete sets. Knuckles down first here as Kennedy slides over halfway. Here's Ramian. McInnes. Hamlin-Willie. He lost the ball, and it's been ruled penalty. A fourth quick tap and go, as they're entitled to do. Hamlin-Willie, now he offloads. Here's Talakai, 5 metres out. More than one in the tackle, illegal strip. Roosters inviting trouble here from the Sharks. Moylan for Kilfusi. Brayley goes through the hands. Hines on the 10-metre line, wrapped up by Radley, aided by Egan Butcher. McInnes. Kilfusi trying to release the ball, elects not to, and takes tackle 4 in great position for Hines. Change of angle from Nikora. He can't shape the tackle from Nat Butcher. Aided by his brother, they led the Roosters tackle count last week, and there's a problem here for Nikora, clutching at an ankle. Well, what happened to the Roosters defenders in this stop?
Well, I think he's just twisted his ankle on the way down there. Back on the inside, where Kilfusi, Nikora there, back on the inside with that run. Always dangerous. Would have pinpointed that, the Roosters, with their defence this week. There's Butcher over the top. Oh, hang on. That is a dangerous tackle there. It's a semi-hip drop. Just the way they wrap themselves under and then pull them back towards.
Well, it's a divisive issue in the game, isn't it? But it's maybe the biggest issue in the game at the moment. And Nat Butcher has brought it sharply into focus again here, 15 minutes in.
Very similar to the Murata Nurkore one here a couple of weeks ago, where you saw him shrugged off the tackle
and the bin, Michael, which we could have forecast given what we've seen over the last few weeks. I'll go to you first, Mick. Is that read and delivered appropriately by the officials?
Yeah, given what we've seen the last couple of weeks, you could just see Nat Butcher unfortunately just shrugged off in the tackle there from Nikora and ends up sliding around the back, and all his weight goes onto the back of his legs. And from the edict we've seen from the NRL, that was nothing else other than a 10-minute sin bin.
Well, that's the thing too, when they wrap around like that and you're half-pie beaten by a player, and then you're pulling back over your body, just gets in an awkward position here. Butcher, just have a look how he drops down and then pulls and lands on his leg. I think we're going to hear a bit more about that one. I know it's 10 minutes in the sin bin, but that is so dangerous.
Last Sunday week, 3 very similar tackles, all grade 2 charges, ranging in 1 to 3 week suspensions. 1 to 4 week suspensions as Hines delivers the first points of the game off the back of an alleged Nat Butcher hip drop. It's Sharks 2, Roosters 0.
Yeah, they're tough ones, those, and surprising that Cronulla, with the Roosters being down to 12, didn't attack and have a look for a try. But just watching the replay here, look at this, I don't think there's any intent there from Nat Butcher. It's an accident, but this is the tackle that we are trying to get out of the game. I'm just not sure what he could do differently.
And that has been the big debate, but head office rock solid, staunchly saying you cannot drop or lower your weight, your hips, buttocks onto the legs of an attacking player. And Ramian gets us going after the first points of the game. Would you have lined up for the 2 points there, Stephen, or kept ball in hand and gone for the try?
Oh, no, I think I would have had the shot at goal there, obviously, but they're down the play now. 12 men for 10 minutes as they shift straight away to the left-hand side. I reckon they'll play a bit of footy now, the Sharks.
It ended up with Wilton. Now, Braden Hamlin-Willett. This 7-game losing streak against the Roosters, Cronulla. Haven't beaten them since 2017 in Gosford. So they took the 2 and want to play from in front. Sloppy, ball to ground, and it's Will Kennedy hoisting it out towards Tupou, who by the time he jumped was about 15 feet in the air.
Gee, that was a rush kick too at the end of that set. That's advantage there to the Roosters. As I said, man down. They'll be trying to keep ball in hand now. Try and get a repeat set. Just quick down that time that Butcher's off.
This man, Jackson Barlaw, he's the Roosters' leading try scorer early in the season with 6. Here's tonight the night James Tedesco scores his first try of the season.
Gee, it's amazing, isn't it? The best player in our game hasn't scored yet. He'd be itching.
Walker standing deep and delivering end over end, high down the ground. Kennedy waits and catches. And he's wrapped up 15 metres out. Straight after we're done here, we're off to 4 Pines Park. Manly against Melbourne. Melbourne off 3 straight wins. Manly trying to rediscover their defence, and here's a problem for the Sharks.
Well, I think you find Mortello saying that we should challenge it.
They're challenging.
Try to rip the ball out. I think it's Brandon Smith involved in the tackle.
Too, mate. Got a challenge from the Sharks and ruling a knock on.
So you want to be certain about this, that the ball's raked out. Walker over the
Look
top.
at the left hand of Sam Walker if there's a stripping action.
They'll look for a stripping motion, hand clearly on the ball.
More than 2 people in the tackle, the left hand of Sam Walker strips the ball. The challenge is successful.
So both captains' challenges working so far, 1 for each team. Here's a perfect example of why it was introduced. Both of them are. Craig Fitzgibbon, his side with 2 wins so far against the Eels, against St George Illawarra, in what was their best performance, 40 points to 8. Here they are as 2-0 leaders. Going forward through Cam McInnes, the former Dragon. Kaufusi looking for a quick play of the ball, held by Keary down the short side. Hines, Kaufusi, now Moylan. Here's Kennedy, a bit of room in front of him. Manu just held him in his eyesight for long enough and then affects the tackle. Moylan, Talakai tries to thunder over the top of Brandon Smith. He made good contact around the legs. The kick from Moylan, sits up, Manu, offside.
Now I'd take the quick tap. Still a man down, lead 2 points to 0.
Nat Butcher going to the sin bin in the 15th minute, so they've got another 5 minutes to navigate with the 12-man defensive line.
Take the tap.
They've heard you, Steve. They've been listening. They've scored the first points. Did they deliver the first try? Kaufusi. Up by Keary and Egan Butcher. Brayley to Moylan. Now Hines crunched, racing in from his blind side. It was Joey Manu. Ball comes free, backwards. Matt Moylan picks up the scraps and plays to the whistle. Moylan scoots over. The Sharks grab the first try.
Yeah, great awareness there from the 5'8" to pick up the ball and score. But it was a great tackle by Manu. Just come in from that centre position just to close it down. The second man play, bang. Ball goes backwards. He's right there on the spot, so they back themselves to score. The Sharkies has done exactly that. Good awareness there from Matt Moylan to pick up the scraps. Couldn't go with him, he dives under. Score the opening try.
Joey Manu jamming in there. When you jam in that far, you've got to stick, you've got to make the tackle. He wasn't able to do so. Collins and Radley joining the tackle, and you could see on the other replay there, Brandon Smith just for a second catching his breath, and Matt Moylan caught him out. Nice work from the Cronulla Sharks, and just watch here. There's Radley, there's Collins, they join the tackle, and on the inside there, Brandon Smith just snoozing a fraction and caught off guard. Matt Moylan picks up the first try. 8 points now, White. Nat Butcher in the sin bin if Nico Hines can land this.
Yeah, it was great to see the Sharks back themselves. Man down, there's the conversion. 8-0 in favour of the Sharkies.
Matt Moylan gets his first try of the season. He scored 5 of them last year. It was at the back end of last year. He extended at Cronulla out until the end of 2024. Since then, every other member of tonight's backline has scored or signed long-term. Will Kennedy today to 25, Kartoa 26, Ramian 26, Talakai 26, Mulatalo 25, and Nico Hines, well, 2029. It's a backline locked up long-term. And Moylan opens his try-scoring account for 2023. Return from Oregon, Kaufusi. Samoan international. Nikora bumps away from Brandon Smith, straight into the clutches of Lindsay Collins. Maria Hargreaves there to make sure it all unfolded okay. Hamlin Willett. Moylan. So the set after their first try, so far so good. It's a good legs tackle. Egan Butcher stopping running Cam McInnes, and Hines. Again, it's long up the ground towards Daniel Tupou. He stopped by Nikora, aided by Ramian.
Gee, it's been a good effort. We mentioned before the game that they really need to have a go here. Newelly and also Kaufusi playing longer minutes. They're down a couple of middles. They've had a great start to the game, those two guys.
So that's the Roosters' first penalty of the game, Blocker, and at this point Cronulla have 7. It was 7-0 before the Roosters earn any love.
The Roosters just catching their breath here, Matty. Have a look this time where they'll roll through the middle, the Roosters, and then Victor Radley will pick his moment of when to attack through the middle, and his ball playing has been quite precise early in this match.
Here's Butcher just inside Cronulla territory. Collins winds up. Held from behind by Nikora. Now Brandon Smith spinning his way through the defensive line. Some agility there from Brandon Smith. Light on his feet. Radley. Maria Hargreaves loses his feet. Good tackle. Teague Wilton. Radley. Keary. Oh, Egan Butcher thunders through a hole. Beautifully fed. Egan Butcher in for his first try of the campaign, and the Roosters waste no time answering the Sharks' try.
Well, I reckon you can put it down to Brandon Smith running out of dummy half. A couple of dead Marines on the ground. He just sprinted out of dummy half, spun out, got them on the front foot. Just a little bit of, well, no luck there. Because have a look at Keary, just back on the inside. Great understanding. You'll see the white headgear flash through there. Couldn't get him the football. Keary reloads. Look at this for a wonderful pass. Hines caught flat-footed. They're looking at Tedesco coming out the back there. And that is a brilliant pass.
Yeah, there it is, that combination of Victor Radley and Luke Keary. It was nice work from Radley on the far side of the field, just laying the field position and then swinging back to that left-hand side and combining with Luke Keary. Keary diving deep into the line, and it was a wonderfully executed line there from Egan Butcher, but it was all the ball playing of Victor Radley as Nat Butcher comes back onto the field for the Roosters.
Gee, it's good timing, isn't it? Just after they've scored points. Back to 13 on the field for them.
Sam Walker, he was 2 from 2 in Melbourne last week. 15 of 21 for the season. That's the assignment first up tonight. It's an easy assignment for Walker, and it's 8-6. And Luke Keary delivers his 4th try assist for the season. He had 25 of them last year. It was beautiful for Egan Butcher, who, the edge forward, still a young man, just 22 years of age, playing his 33rd first-grade game. But all these Roosters forwards, Blocker, will be aware that Angus Crichton is coming back tomorrow through New South Wales Cup. Nathan Brown is there as well. So Dilly Tupanua, even Dylan Napa.
Dylan Napa, yeah.
So there's some depth for the coaching staff watching on at the Roosters. I suppose that puts the current pack under pressure. Nice work by Egan Butcher. Running off his 5'8". one try each with 14 minutes left in the first half.
Cronulla not far off making a couple of changes here. Royce Hunt and Jack Williams have come to the side on plenty of leg speed and power from the Cronulla injections.
Thank you, Michael. Brandon Smith playing a key role in that Roosters try. Radley playing it for Sam Walker. He drives it down towards Mulatalo. Here's Talakai. Another big crowd in at Shark Park. It was sold out in round one against South Sydney, nearly against the Warriors a fortnight ago. And Brayley at dummy half. Hines, just shy of halfway, drives it long in behind James Tedesco. Another good bounce for the Roosters. It pulled up on the spot, and Tedesco back beyond his 20.
I think that's a big secret too, when you've got a bloke who can run the ball back like James Tedesco. Try and kick away from him. As you mentioned, the bounce didn't favour the Sharks that time. It didn't roll. Walked it up pretty easily and comfortably at the back there for the Roosters. Just starting to build for something now, starting to get their combinations, little offloads around the ruck.
Gee, it's been a big stint from this man Hargreaves to start the game, along with Lindsay Collins, but the Roosters now about to make their first change. Matt Lodge, who's coming back from a facial fracture, about to take the field for the Roosters.
First time we've seen Matt Lodge mix since round one. Ball comes free. The carry by Collins and the tackle by the Sharks results in an error.
Got a captain's challenge.
I think that's Jack Williams. He's just got on the field. Sudden impacts all of a sudden with his defence. Going to challenge it. Guinness up the top.
Look at the right hand here of Cameron McGuinness. There's two people in the tackle.
That.
Just need to see if there's an intent to strip.
They'll win this too, I'd reckon. Just watch the way he bounces away from the tackle, and then it looks like he has a grab at the ball
At this point,
here.
Cameron McGuinness is making a tackle. As he's falling away here,
I think this might go the Sharks' way.
The ball with his right hand. The challenge is successful.
No,
Yeah, I think
challenge successful.
I think he did have a little rake at it on the way down.
You read it perfectly, Steve Roach. Matt Lodge, fractured cheekbone round one against the Dolphins. He's back in the headgear.
Well, he's had a couple of facial fractures over the last couple of seasons, so showing plenty of courage out there with that headgear on. Hard man to stop too. He's got great leg speed and he's a big hooer.
Big inclusion, isn't he, for the Roosters? Here's Keary, and here's Lodge, his first carry of the evening. He's set up perfectly, the visitors. Keary out the back, held by Tedesco, and he can't be held though. Still going Tedesco. He shook his way clear of 3 or 4 players. Smith, now Radley to Lodge, and it was lost by Lodge. Now Lodge is screaming out challenge.
I reckon he's lost the ball into one of the Sharks players there. It was a hospital pass. Just fractionally overrun the ball there. Off Radley. Yep, that's a knock on. He's lost control of that ball into a Cronulla player.
That could well have been the interpretation from the bunker had it been sent that way by the Roosters. They elect not to. PointsBet Stadium with the building work continuing around it, but the capacity has increased to about 13,500. Speaking to the Sharks officials pre-kickoff, Katoa. So Cronulla, they only had one loss in the regular season last year here, and it was against the Roosters. Yes, they lost a final, but during the regular season, only beaten once at Shark Park by its day's opposition, Nicola. Brayley for Hines, down the short side, holding it to the line. It opens up here, Katoa. And as soon as it had opened, it closed. Will detangle.
Happened right in front of me, that, Matty, and He's in some pain here, Sione Katoa. Just got his leg caught in an awkward position.
Sione! Sione!
Told to go backwards. Eventually back to his feet.
Time on!
Doesn't look too inconvenienced. Will follow Sione Katoa. The next few minutes, McInnes, they sweep across the ground towards Talakai. Yet to score this season. Sifa Talakai, the only member of the Sharks' back five yet to do so. And Hines, hoist one again. Out towards the wing where it's pushed backwards by Mulatalu and gobbled up by Tedesco.
He catches it when he's already out, it's out in the full. I'll get him out.
So out on the full is the rule in because Mulatalu had left from on the line or over it. This shot will show it. He needed one eye on the ball and one eye on the ground block.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem there, wasn't it? He had to go for it anyway, so again, quite comfortable now, the turnover for the Roosters. They've had the better of the play the last 10 minutes. A little bit of ball played, and there's a penalty in the back of it.
Their second of the game. The first 7 to Cronulla. The next 2 now to the Roosters.
Be straight away in the attack. Really haven't gone the side there of Manu over there on the right. They've just come back to this left-hand side, their left-hand side. Manu hasn't had much to do so far.
On in jersey 16, Nofahu White. His 4th game of the season. Here's Radley. Nothing flash about that from Victor. Straight and hard. Brandon Smith out of dummy half, burrowing, reaching and scoring.
Is he short?
Don't take your eyes off Brandon Smith. He got there. Grant Atkins blows the try. Brandon Smith at his best blocker.
Well, I think Mick was mentioning it before the game. At his best, this guy runs the ball. You've got to push up in support, but he does it all himself here. Ducks under a couple of feeble attempts at tackle, and he stretches out. What about that for strength? Oh, hang on.
It's on the strike.
Oh.
You've only got to lick the paint. One blade of grass will do it.
Oh.
You think he might have finished a little short?
We only needed a little bit of chalk on it to score.
He got there. Try confirmed.
Oh, gee, what a nail on that shot.
Yeah, only licked the coat of Dulux there, Matty. Not much in it, but great deception from dummy half there. Smith just leaning onto that right foot. That was enough to get rid of the marker. Jack Williams burrowed low tenaciously under the tackle of Britton Nickera. Got through with pure strength and determination and through Royce Hunt. And just too strong for Will Kennedy, and as he reaches out, well, only one coat there, Matty, but it was enough for the Roosters to get in front just before half-time.
Geez, they've done well to hit back, haven't they? They were under the pump. They were down 8-0. It's been all Brandon Smith at dummy half running. Swivel out a couple of tackles a little bit earlier. Was unlucky not to find his 5'8" Luke Cleary back on the inside.
And the Roosters have the lead for the first time in the game. They've survived the sin binning of Nat Butcher. Struck back with 2 tries, and Sam Walker has taken full advantage each time. And a good game here in the Shire. Roosters 12, Sharks 8. Trent Robinson may be looking at this replay like you were, Steve Roach, to have a look at the ball. The bunker says it got there. You're still not sure, are you?
Well, I'll go with them. With all the camera angles, there was one angle there that I didn't think it was. I thought it was short, but anyway, we move on. He's playing well enough to score.
His second try as a Rooster. Brandon Smith only had 3 tries last year at Melbourne. 2 already for the Roosters number 9, and here comes Lodge. Greeted by McInnes, Wilton and company. Jackson Parlour. Later on tonight, we're off to Brookvale, Manly, Melbourne. Aaron Woods making his club debut. Cooper Johns playing with Josh Schuster out with that niggle still. It's coming up on Friday Night Footy at your home of league, Fox League. Smith to Walker, who kicks from inside his 40, straight down the throat of Will Kennedy. leading the chase. Egan Butcher, assisted by Keary.
Yeah, all possession with the Cronulla Sharks in the first quarter of this match, and it was Hines and Moylan just moving the ball side to side as we see Wade Graham back onto the field for the Cronulla Sharks, returning from suspension. But as possessions turned, the Roosters' big men through the middle are starting to win the battle physically. Rain just starting to trickle down here too, Matty, just before half-time.
Thank you. Wade Graham back from that round 1 suspension. He challenged the contact on Baby Moala. Top 4 weeks. Wilton tears through. Teague Wilton looks outside and threw it straight to Jackson Barlaw.
Barlaw's called for the ball there for sure. Wilton was straight through. He did well to break a couple of tackles there. He thought his wingman might have been right beside him. But it was Barlaw. They dodged the bullet there, the Roosters.
Big shot by Jack Williams. So Barlaw got between Wilton and Talakai and received the pass. And now defensively, the Sharks are muscling up. That's tackle 4. And the Roosters are at their 20-metre line.
You don't get that many opportunities when you play against a Roosters side that are on tonight with their defence. That should have been a try.
Kick long, down to Will Kennedy, who has Kartoa there if he wants. Will Kennedy trying to glide through as he has so often done in his 5 NRL seasons. Instead, he earns a penalty. Too long on the tackle player, Joseph Swali'i.
That's 7-3 the penalties at the moment. Gee, it's a leg up, isn't it, when you get penalties coming off your own line? It's been all the first half. The bulk of the penalties have been to the Sharks. They haven't really had to ruck that hard off their own line.
After some early wobbles, the Sharks have completed 80% of their sets, and the Roosters, they're 15 of 16.
Just goes to show how good they're going. It's 8-3 the penalties in favour of the Sharkies. Can you believe it? The Roosters are in front.
Now Moylan, the Sharks try scorer. He's inside the 20, mid-tackle count. Wade Graham for Hines. Now Kennedy joins in and takes the tackle, Swali'i. They sweep back to the left. It's through the middle for the time being, through Williams. Hines, the grubber, into the legs of the Roosters. And now a set restart. It was played at, said referee Grant Atkins, retrieved by Ramian. And here's Kartoa, held around the legs by Terrell May. Hines standing, unable to offload. Hunt. So a set restart there, the second effort in the previous tackle. Moylan for Hines. Nikora was hitting the hole. Hines held the ball. Brayley called by Kennedy. Change of angle provided by Ramian. Offload. Brayley, Williams. And the Roosters goal line defence holding here. Brayley out of dummy half, trying to emulate what Brandon Smith did. Stopped by Radley. Another set restart. In fact, it's a penalty.
I'll tell you what, he's lucky he's not sent to the sin bin there, Radley. It's a professional foul in mine.
Plenty will agree, Stephen. Graham. So the pressure gauge goes up. Another set restart. Why wasn't that a penalty? Wilton stopped that time by Nat Butcher. Here's Williams. It was lodged around his legs. Where's the scoring punch coming from? Graham. Punch just got up a little flat. Brayley. Now Moylan takes the line on, throws the pass under pressure again. It comes free. Lost ball on the ground. How will this be ruled? Play on. No knock on from the Roosters. Joey Manu cleans up and the Roosters hang on there.
Gee, at the back end of the game, if the Roosters go on and win this one and put it down to the defence, they had all the ball there the last 5 minutes, the Sharks. And it was the speed of the line that put the pressure on. They couldn't have come away with any points.
Here's Tedesco. The VB hard-earned index. Lindsay Collins earning a much-needed breather just ahead of Jared Warrior-Hargreaves. So the two starting front rowers for the Roosters on top of the VB hard-earned. And a slip here from Kennedy makes him easy prey. Barlaw in over the top.
And what a kick that turned into. You just see it just landed in the in-goal area and just stopped. William Kennedy had to play at the ball.
And the siren sounds, signalling the end of the first half. An eventful one, as expected. Cronulla against the Roosters. A sin binning to Nat Butcher, followed by a Matt Moylan try as the Sharks went ahead 8-0. Then Egan Butcher and Brandon Smith tries to then have carried the Roosters ahead 12-8.
He's really warming to the task with the Roosters now with his new club.
Grant Atkins get it just back underway. There was a warning on the run for the Roosters as we went to half-time regarding the set restarts, the infringements on their own goal line. We'll see how much patience Grant has for James Tedesco and his team in the second 40. And Cronulla with first use of it after the resumption and hoping to build on a huge advantage in terms of possession and territory. Steve wrote, should they have converted that into more points and a lead rather than a deficit?
Yeah, but I think you've got to give a rap to the Roosters' defence. I know they gave away a lot of 6-agains down on their goal line, but the way that they've got and the speed of the line have really put pressure on the Sharks. There's the first error of the second half.
So they failed to get through their first set after half-time. It's put down by Jack Williams. Still their own side of halfway as they were looking to set up for the kick. Had Victor Radley looming in his eye line.
He might have just looked up and seen Victor in front of him there. It's an unforced error from the Sharks to start the second half. You can't gift this Roosters side field position.
Barlaw running after the scrum. Wouldn't they love an early try after building this lead late in the first half despite having Nat Butcher sin-binned. They're out by 4, the Roosters. Walk along for Joey Manu, caught flat-footed, wrapped up by Moylan, Kennedy and Talakai. Bradley passing up the line for Mafahu White. And they open up both sides of the field. Here's Radley just holding the ball and straightening into Hunt and Brayley taking tackle 5. It's Keary kicking, looking for a leaping Barlaw. Instead it's a great jump from Ronaldo Mulatalo. He marks the ball in goal and goes back to the 20-metre line, Stephen.
And he wants to get on with it straight away too. Mulatalo, that's a great take. He was under all sorts of pressure. We know how good Manu is in the air. And that's a great take. Saves the day for the Sharks to start the second half.
I hope your eyeliner didn't run at halftime, Michael. It got wet.
Big downpour, Matty. Absolutely torrential there for a few minutes, but it looks to have cleared now. And just seeing that take from Mulatalo, how important was that to start the second half? The last thing the Sharks could have done there was concede early points.
And now they're on the front foot, 3 tackles down. Hines goes to Nick Ora. Waiting for him, Egan Butcher. Defensively strong again. Moylan out the back, Kennedy 3-on-2, Talakai grubbers. Mulatalo couldn't get there in time. It looked like it might sit up and give Mulatalo a sniff.
We're going to go for the line drop out. It looks like it's come off Tedesco here. Talakai with a beautifully weighted kick in and behind, the grubber kick. Just have a look at him just covering across there. They've changed their mind, the restart. Mulatalo has knocked the ball back into Tedesco.
But Mulatalo was out, so it goes from goal line dropout back to the 20-metre line. And now an opportunity for the Roosters. Swali'i starts the sets. Tupou. Tedesco. Given no room. Nikora around his legs. Lodge over halfway. A reminder, our next game is Sea Eagles Storm. Maybe another beauty as it's intercepted here. Mulatalo needed support. He was held by the shorts. Joey Manu desperately. He did enough.
Yeah, just trying to force the issue there. Radley trying to be the ball player on this right-hand side. Good awareness, Mulatalo. Not only the bomb taken down the other end of the field, but then the intercept. The Sharks on the attack. Geez, they've had some opportunities in this game.
Williams for Kennedy. And the offload was read by the Roosters well as Hines comes to Moylan. Now Nikora back at an angle. Kennedy joins in, gets away from Manu this time. Talakai, Mulatalo flying to the corner and delivering again. Ronaldo Mulatalo, what a freakish finisher he is.
Yeah, and he's the man that took the intercept up the other end of the field there to give him good field position. I'll tell you what, it's good play there too from Talakai. Up and away. Is his foot on the line there? We saw a little bit of chalk in the first half on the line for the try for the Roosters. They need that a little bit. Mulatalo's happy about it. And they'll have another look at it here. Different angle. Let's have a look at that foot. He's got the white boots on. Somehow he stays in play there. That's unbelievable.
Well, if there was a coat of paint in Brendan Smith's, there's a little bit of grass on that one, Matty. Mulatalo, what a finisher. But it all started on the inside with the intent and purpose and the change of angle from Brendan Nikora. And then just watch Will Kennedy and his ability to move on the pass from Nikora. Watch this. As Moylan drifts across field, here comes Nikora, skipping across, jamming in. There was Joey Manu, and he just moved on the outside. It was brilliant work from Will Kennedy and Mulatalo. Boy, have a look at this front on. That is absolutely brilliant.
Well, the good thing about that try too was Kennedy backing himself with his footwork. Once he got the ball, hang on, have a look at it. I think it's a try. I could see some grass.
I think they've gone to the grounding here, men. I think Grant Atkins said we're just going to look at the grounding.
Just looking at the foot of Ronaldo, based on the live decision, there's a green strip of grass between the boot and the line, so we're playing on at this point.
Sorry, Matty, they were just listening to me, the bunker.
The ball's grounded with no clear separation. We have a decision.
It's a try.
And you don't need to be gripping the ball as long as there's no separation. That's downward pressure. That's good enough in the modern game, maybe even in an older game, Blocker, but it's a try.
These guys are freaks, the way they finish. They love getting that opportunity to put on a try like that. Mulatalo, not only the bomb down the other end of the field, the intercept, and then he scores the try. What involvement's there from wingers these days.
The kickers tonight haven't missed yet. A tricky one here for Nico Hines. From out at the left-hand sideline, or left sideline, he brings it across the face. Can't have the extras. We're locked up at 12. And Ronaldo Mulatalo, the Fox Sports lab all over his try-scoring heroics. He's now leading try-scorer at Cronulla this season. Off back-to-back doubles. He gets one now. If he scores another tonight, he'll become the first Shark to score multiple tries in 3 straight games since Colin Best in 1999. He needs one more to have multiples in 3 straight games.
Well, you'd like to back him in. There's plenty of time left in the second half, but the way that he gets himself involved in the game.
Oh, knocked Held on from the kickoff and then knocked over Royce Hunt, rubbing salt into the wounds. He was steaming onto the ball. What a result for the Roosters.
Have a look at the pass here, how hard it is. Oh no, it's nice and soft. Just bounced off the top part of his chest.
And then Lodge had Hunt bounce off the top of his chest.
He just took his eyes off the ball. Big Royce Ihani was flying onto that, had a little boat boot at Matty Lodge, who was charging out of the line to get a shot on him. And again, the Sharks now just gifting this Roosters side big blocks of possession and in good field position. Keary barking orders.
Tell you what, you're better off taking the ball and running a little bit slower rather than taking the risk of the ball bouncing off your chest like that.
So now the Roosters in a great position to answer the Mulatalo try immediately. Keary to Lodge.
We saw that in the first half, didn't we? As soon as the Sharks got themselves in a nice, comfortable lead, 8-0, they just struck straight back, the Roosters. See if they can do it again.
Hunt raced up there on Lodge, keen to make amends. Tedesco, Joey Manu at fullback last week, filling in for Tedesco. Back to that right centre position today. Here's Walker running and jinking, and into Talakai. One jink too many. As Siffer shuts him down. Smith. Brandon Smith. Starting to get a grip on. Here's Keary. Kicking high out towards the wing of Tupou, instead waiting for it. Katoa again. It's a logical option, kicking for Tupou over Katoa, but Sioni's done well in that front so far.
I tell you what, it's a clever play from Nico Hines soon. But Tupou was caught in field. He just scooted straight up the blind side, made his team 15 metres upfield.
Royce Hunt about to come from the field for the Cronulla Sharks, and Tommy Hazelton coming on for just his second game of NRL.
His first game was against the Roosters last year. Round 12. The loss here, 36-16. And his next taste of NRL, same venue, same opposition. Almost the same point of the season. The kick down the ground for Tupou. You won't miss Tommy Hazelton, 198 centimetres, 120 kg, Stephen.
He's big enough. We'll see what he can dish out against this Roosters side now.
Signed out of Goulburn by a famous Shark who we spoke to pre-game, Gavin Miller.
What a player, Gavin Miller.
He made his test debut with you.
He did. In the World Cup final.
And played the house down.
He did.
Great Shark, Gavin Miller. Still very much part of the club and bringing Tommy Hazelton in jumper 17 to the club. Heavy contact on Egan Butcher. Ooh, almost lost the ball. Gets through to play the ball safely in the end. And the kick from Walker across his body down to Will Kennedy. Is this game unfolding as you expected coming here, Blocker?
Well, they just really tried to just outpower each other so far. We haven't seen a lot of football in this game. I know there was a sudden downpour there just at half-time, but both sides a little bit cautious so far.
Moylan, quick hands, Hines, beautiful. Talakai into a hole. He had Mulatalo on his outside, but the defence got in the way. It did enough. Now Moylan back for Wade Graham, who puts it down. Maria Hargreaves comes away with it. Is it starting to open up a little bit now, this game?
Well, they've cost themselves a couple of times, haven't they? They've made a lot of clean breaks in this game.
Risky there from the Roosters, pushing a pass to ground, picked up by Joseph Swali'i.
Just can't finish off, can they, the Sharkies? Just keep going back to that clean break in the first half where they should have scored. They've got a great ability, the Roosters, just grind away and get themselves back in.
Drew Hutchison onto the ground, and his side gets a penalty here. Tommy Hazelton too long on the tackled player. He infringes.
That's sure it was, just the second grab. Trying to get to his feet to play the ball quickly. The Roosters won't go away here.
Another test of Cronulla's defence, remembering they've given up at least 24 points in all but one of their games this year. That was the blowout win against the Dragons. Apart from that, 24 points or more. All that defensive work comes to the test now. Bradley through the hands for Keary to go on, and Egan Butcher tackled by Williams. Tedesco dancing across the ground. Tedesco still going, still standing. James Tedesco, 12 seasons into his career, we're still amazed they can't get a grip on him. Radley out the back, numbers now for the Roosters. Manu bumps away from Katoa, but it allows Wilton to get through and wrap him up. Last play here from 10 metres out. The kick from Walker across the ground. The leap from Tupou. It's pushed backwards to Swali'i. Egan Butcher has to kick. It's along the ground, setting up for Moylan, and the Sharks survive.
Gee, he did well to hold his nerve there, Moylan. That ball could have gone anywhere. Just took his time. The last bounce right up into his hands. He could have played at that ball, and the Roosters would have got the ball back.
Jason Riles, Trent Robinson, Matt King looking down.
Sam Walker.
Their team locked at 12 with Cronulla. Robinson's good mate, long-time assistant, Craig Fitzgibbon, at the other end of the grandstand in the Sharks coach's box. Head-to-head for only the second time since their union at the Roosters was broken, with Fitzgibbon coming to Cronulla. Here's Hines down the ground, high and long, taken by Tupou. And the chase is good.
Just waiting for a couple of opportunities for Brandon Smith to start running. He was so good in that first half. It's about these sort of times that you start to think about running. He's on the bench again. It won't be long before he's back on.
Wade Graham coming from the field, as you can see there, and Cameron McInnes back into the action for the Sharks, just recognising that they're starting to get a little loose through the middle. The outside backs of the Roosters really starting to leave their mark.
The outside-inside play, Mick, well read by Jack Williams, making an important tackle on Tedesco. Now the kick from Walker. Straight down the ground. Was that off Kennedy? Swali'i contested the ball as well, not touched by the Sharks. Another kick from the Roosters, pushed backwards, still the last. The kick and chase by Walker, and then Moylan goes to Katoa, who's taken contact high.
That's Manu, just threw out an arm there.
Have a listen to this, Matty. The home fans want him off. Joey Manu just collecting him high there, Katoa. But let's talk about Matt Moylan. Come into the game under a bit of pressure. He's had a bit of a roller coaster start to 2023. He's had some great moments and some defensive moments that haven't been so good. But tonight he's come up with some huge plays, both with and without the ball for the Sharks.
Still a long way to go in this game, best part of 25 minutes.
That's a good play there. Nice and cool under pressure, Moylan.
And then Katoa receives the high contact, and now they get another penalty.
Geez, that helps, doesn't it? We saw, there's Hines taking a quick tap.
And Hines straight down the middle! Nico Hines catch the Roosters napping. And in the end, it's Barlaw making the tackle, a crucial tackle. Nico was too quick. Moylan standing and going to Wilton. Well, they've blinked, and all of a sudden they've gone from attack to their own goal line, the Roosters. Brayley. McInnes back on, and
Hines in trouble, Matty.
For Williams, they attack through McInnes. He's back to his feet now, Mick. Hands on the back of his head. Take his place in the line to this left-hand side. Now Nico Hines, long, Mulatalu. Covered by Barlaw. Does a 360. And now he throws it. It's been knocked on by the Roosters. Well, the Sharks lost their way, and it's A knock-on that bails them out. It could easily have been an intercept.
Yeah, the pass just a little bit too hard there, knocked down. I think it was Victor Radley that gets his arm on the ball. Nico Hines, what about that for a play? Just his awareness, just knows straight away what to do. And all they had their backs turned, the Roosters. Nico took off.
Just keep an eye on the Sharks' left side attack here. Talakai starting to win the battle a little with Joey Manu. They're liking what they're seeing. Manu jamming in hard and they're finding some space on the outside.
They go to the other side. Will Kennedy, he finds support in Katoa. Ball wrapped up by May. This is McInnes. McInnes called into the starting lineup this week. Nick Order.
Tackle.
Right around the bootlaces. Egan Butcher again. Moylan from 10 metres out. Kennedy or Williams it is. And he's dropped the ball.
Gee whiz, the Sharks just cannot build any pressure, can they? It's been a number of times that the Roosters have invited them down to attack their try line in this second half, and just fundamental individual errors killing them at the moment.
Just wonder how much they got left in the tank here, the Sharks. I'll tell you what I'd be doing. I know there's 21 minutes to go, but I wouldn't be leaving the dummy half Brendan Smith on the bench for too long. He was the only man that was really making inroads into the Sharks. Maybe they're tempted to leave him off until the last 15, but the game's on the line now, 12 all. They need him back out there.
Time off. You're right, mate. You're right.
So the Roosters to bring it out of their own red zone, just to check on the health of Blake Brayley there. I mentioned the defence of Egan Butcher. He has 30 tackles for the game. His brother Nat 31. They lead the Roosters on that front. The only man with more in the game, Blake Brayley with 34. So the Butcher boys building on what they did last week defensively in Melbourne. Another strong carry from Lindsay Collins. Singled out for special praise by Greg Alexander at halftime for his work through the middle. Lots of physicality. Here's Kennedy.
Mate, it'd be interesting just to see how long Craig Fitzgibbon holds his nerve. At the moment, the Sharks are reasonably small through the middle with Williams and McInnes also pressing through the middle there. So how long they keep Welle off the field. He was terrific in his first stint.
Yeah, 7 strong carries, upwards of 60 run metres. Here's Hines going to Nick Order. It was forward and it looked forward.
We might have got a call from the touchy there, by the look of it. In great position. Nico just had a glance straight away to the touchy. And I think that's a good call.
The replay backs the officials up. So into the final quarter of this game. Cronulla coming into the contest at 2-3. Their only wins against the Eels and the Dragons. Remembering they led the Warriors 20-0 and got run down. They're at home, they're off a bye. They've got Wade Graham back. They're desperate. This is a big 20 minutes for both teams, but especially the home team here. Maria Hargreaves. Bradley passing at the line. Flat and short for Collins, who did well to take it. He was under pressure. There's been some fantastic handling from the big men this evening. Taking the first half from Waria Hargreaves springs to mind. The crowd sitting apprehensively. Here's Keary. Can the Sharks' defence here invite them to make some noise? Butcher, slow play the ball. Now Keary just measures the kick across the ground. Manu got first grab, couldn't collect, and it falls nicely for Cronulla into the clutches of Mulatalo. Well, Joey Manu looked to get a free go at that ball.
Yeah, it looked like they just waited for him to have the first grab. It's dangerous to set that precedent. He gets the ball back, Mulatalo. You've got to compete for the ball in those sort of situations. Manu, just a little bit unfortunate, didn't drop down a little bit better onto his chest.
Here's Talakai. 4 of the 5 teams off the bye have won so far this season. It's Cronulla off the bye and into this game. Well, Craig Fitzgibbon has heard Michael Ennis, and Hamlin Weller is back out there. Now Moylan. Ramian. Well tackled by Swali'i. Here's Hines. Just appears to tap the ball and it balloons off the foot. Taken by Tedesco. So very much set for set. An arm wrestle. The game level. 17 minutes to play. Big crowd in at Shark Park. The first leg of your Friday doubleheader before we go to Manly, Melbourne. It's next.
It just looks to me like the Roosters have got a few more options, but the problem is they haven't had the field position. Up the other end, they've been working off their own line. You've got to look to Keary and also the lock forward in Radley of all players. They're going for a 40-20 here.
Was Keary just beyond the 40? The ball straightens. In the end, it doesn't matter. Good kick, though. Plenty of metres gobbled up. I think he just went beyond the 40. Would have been interesting to see how that one was adjudicated.
It was a nice chase by his half partner, too, to get himself down there, and Sam Walker.
They need a big run here, Cronulla.
The Sharks are a little bit slow to get behind the ball here.
Talo still in his own 20, could play the ball. Now Brayley going 13, 14 metres out of dummy half. That eases a bit of pressure. Wilton down the short side, away from Walker. Get out on the road. Sam was happy to backpedal.
Middle knee 10.
Hines high out towards the wing of Jackson Barlaw. He puts it down, ruled backwards. He's knocked it backwards, says Grant Atkins. Not too many Sharks in the grandstand agree.
Yeah, I think the ball just got to go on the ground for the Sharks supporters to go up.
Brandon Smith back into the action for the Sydney Roosters. Victor Radley having a spell.
Thank you, Mick Ennis. Backwards, says the referee, as you watch it again in the replay box. Happy enough with that, Stephen?
Yeah, I was happy with that. Yeah, play on. The Roosters are really struggling to get down that other end. That's been the problem. Smith
out of dummy half. Still going, Brandon Smith. Straight back on and straight back to having an influence. Good run on the 5th play. And now we see the kick from Keary. High, it's taken by Katoa. Swali'i was through, contesting the ball. Gee, he's been good in the air today. Sione Katoa.
That's some sort of take, isn't it? Under all sorts of pressure. He's copped an injury too, just hobbling back out to his wing.
The men he's jumping against, Tupou and Swali'i, both up above 6 feet significantly. And Katoa is more than holding his own. Hines, the reigning Dalian medalists. 6 points so far this season. Setting his sights on the leader, Harry Grant, after 6 rounds. Last play, the Sharks. And it's Hines trying to find the grass and split the men at the back. A kind bounce for Daniel Tupou. How many metres can he chew off?
Just watching the Roosters at the moment, Matty. 2 sets ago it was Luke Keary, the class of Luke Keary, the feel from Luke Keary, driving that kick early in the set down into the southern corner, and on the previous set it was Brandon Smith out of dummy half, pinching 30 metres, turning an ordinary set into a great set. The leaders of the Roosters starting to put the foot on the throttle.
Collins. He's had his foot on the throttle whatever he's been out there. Lindsay Collins, 7-year NRL Rooster. Hutchison, straight into a hole, through. Appeared to pull up in his run. Now Keary on the last, kicking out towards Talakai. Mulatalo, too good, almost away. Gee, that's an important tackle. Look who it is, Lindsay Collins.
Yeah, Hutchison just a little bit slow back on the inside there. If they'd have gone to a faster man, Anything could have happened there. There's good awareness too, just to set himself back on the inside. Offload here from Moylan. He takes some good metres. Throws the pass out for Ramian. Ramian wrapped up by Tupou. Hines kicks and chases his own kick. Diving for it. Lindsay Collins again. He's everywhere. Yeah, that's a great clean-up, isn't it? From Collins. He's doing the tough stuff. He's pulling off important tackles in cover. Now he's sliding back to clean up a kick, and it opens up here momentarily for Manu. Pulled down by another front rower, Hamlin Welle.
Only a short spell, Matty. Victor Radley back into the action. Drew Hutchison coming from the field.
Keary dummying at the line.
Yeah, they need their best ball players out there. 12 minutes to go.
Maria Hargreaves runs onto a pass the locals thought was forward. And Walker out towards Katoa again. Does persistence pay off here? It's swatted by Swali'i. Over the sideline, not played at by me, says Sione. And it will be Cronulla's ball.
He got out jump.
12 metres.
Swahili just got the ball back there. Just trying to tap it back rather than trying to catch the ball on the full.
Gee, they've done a great job tonight, the Sharks wingers, particularly in the wet conditions here. There's been a number of times it's been an aerial assault in the athleticism, and just at ground level, the sheer size of guys like Tupou, Swali'i, Manu, Jackson Barlow. There are enormous men, and they're kicking to those corners. They've done a great job, the wingers.
Well, if they can go on and win this game, the Sharks, it's been true grit, hasn't it? They've got down in the gutter, and they needed to. Coming fresh off the bye.
Hines down the sideline, dummying, stepping, only one to beat. The offload for Blake Brayley to scoot away, looking for the go-ahead try, and getting it. Well, the rain at halftime was delivered by a Sharks fan.
Well, Nico Hines has put himself into this game, hasn't he, in the second half, especially made a long-range break. Again, he goes up the short side. And what about the support there from Blake Brayley, who's done all that tackling in the middle of the field. Somehow finds some petrol. They go up the short side, the dummy there. And look at Brayley staying alive, back on the inside. He's got plenty to do. The chase is on from Walker. He gets there. Radley can't make the tackle. Tries to hold him up, slams it down. What a try to the Sharks.
Yeah, the king of the Shire. He signs a lifetime deal a fortnight ago. The $1 million man. And he's owning the big moments here at PointsBet Stadium. Nico Hines down a very narrow short side, recognising fatigue and a lack of numbers down there, and he just sliced through, found a way to step back on the inside and find Blake Brayley. Still so much work to do from the Sharks dummy half, and he gets in a one-on-one duel with Sam Walker. It's a wrestle, it's a fight. Does he get it down? Yes, he does. Just on the inside. They might look at this, but look at the box. Cronulla fans have gone up, the Sharks in front.
He's made 39 tackles in this game, right through the middle. Not a big man, Brayley, but somehow finds the energy to support his skipper back on the inside. Hines has just set this ground alight in the second half, the skipper. Great try to Brayley.
What about their number 7 since halftime? As Mick Ennis called him, their $1 million man. Locked up until the end of 2029. He's been good from this side of the ground, but leaves it out to the right. 4 points the difference. He screams in anguish, knowing 4 points with best part of 10 minutes left isn't going to be enough necessarily against the Roosters.
Well, when it's 12-all, you need your best players to come to the forefront, don't you? That's Hines had a mighty second half, hasn't he? Just running the ball. Brayley does well to slam that ball down. You've got to say how good the chase was from young Walker. Wasn't strong enough to hold him up.
I'll give you Nico Hines' second half numbers. Just his second half. 95 run metres, 3 tackle busts, 2 line breaks, try assist. That's just the second half.
Well, that's just the will to get your team home. That's a captain's knock. That's why he was the Dally M Player of the Year last year. Puts it upon himself to get his team home if they do get home.
Last time the Sharks beat the Roosters at this ground, 2016. Not a bad year for Cronulla, Michael Ennis.
Slightly remember that one, Matthew.
The last time the Sharkies took down the Roosters here. Here's Wilton. So back in front, Cronulla now. Again with lead changes, with a sin binning, with drama, with a real arm wrestle in patches. And I don't think we're done yet with 8.5 left. Daniel Tupou takes the kick. Can't get away from Nikora. Good chase, desperate stop.
Well, the Sharks' Achilles heel at times in this second half has been just cheap turnovers. They've managed to get through that set after points. A nice kick downfield. Don't for a moment, with 8 minutes remaining, think that this Roosters side's going to roll over with the class of Tedesco, Keary, Radley, Brandon Smith, just chirping around the ruck. It's going to be a grandstand finish, I reckon, here.
Well, they've played the full second half coming off their own line, haven't they? They haven't been hardly over the halfway line. They need to get into a good area here.
Again, the pass not liked by the crowd. Okay, says Grant Atkins. It's the last now. Keary high. Straight down the ground towards the fullback. Kennedy, did he knock that on? Yes. The set restarts for the Roosters, and they're at the 10-metre line.
They've got to hang on now. Where's Tedesco? The great players in this game so far have been the best.
Ria Hargreaves. That run takes him up near 150 metres for the match. Brandon Smith, Keary, Walker stops and succumbs. Something falling apart there for the visitors. Manu gets the ball away for Keary. Now Collins. Collins, the leg drive. Lindsay Collins, has he worked his way to the line? It would be rich reward for the Roosters front rower.
Well, he thinks he has. He thinks he scored here.
I've got a no try. Can we look at grounding, please?
He just kept going forward like he has all night.
Gets to the line at any point. He's still got possession. He's short at this point.
It was ruled no try.
Just checking all available angles. From what we've seen so far, the ball looks short.
Lindsay thinks he
Based on
scored.
the live decision, we'll be supporting
Might be a coat of paint in this one, Matty.
Of short. Do you have a decision?
They've stopped that replay there. Is he still rolling forward?
Tackle 3.
He's going to play the ball. He's short. What a tackle.
It's been the theme of the night, hasn't it? Coat of paint, McInnes, as we stay with the Roosters. From close range, poor pass out of dummy half, and now Nikora cleans it up.
That's the play of the day there. Loose ball on the ground, desperation. Nikora cleans it up for the Sharks.
Ramian could have easily knocked that ball on. As we've touched on, it's a greasy surface. You saw that during the Blake Brayley sliding try. Tricky there for Nikora, but he does really well. And as McInnes is tackled by Butcher. Get out of the way. Oregon, Kaufusi. Like it was swinging a slab of Oregon straight into the defence. The kick high down for Tedesco. And Tedesco trapped in his own 20. 6 minutes left.
Moments like these, you need experience onto the field. Wade Graham now out there for the Cronulla Sharks. Welle getting a well-earned spell. He's had a big night. Braden through the middle.
Next up, Manly against Melbourne. Both teams 1 through 17. So Tom Trbojevic will play for the Sea Eagles, and Cam Munster wearing 1 today as well. Not bad when you can move Munster back to fullback and your spine still reads Peasant, Hughes, Harry Grant blocker.
Yeah, they're just trying to fit them all in, aren't they? The Melbourne Storm starting to get on a little bit of a roll. The battle of Brookie.
Swalei. 5.5 minutes left. Still more footy to come, but a great finish in store here. The kick high, taken by Mulatalo. And he goes to ground for safety. Penalty to Cronulla to boot.
Yeah, that was a beautiful take, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of question marks coming into this game about the Cronulla Sharks defence, who have certainly conceded some points this year, but just 12 points, and their sheer resolve and fight on their defensive line, particularly in this second half, has been absolutely superb.
That penalty, tackled in the air, I believe, very soft, just brushing past Ronaldo Mulatalo, but on Monday, in his weekly football briefing, Graham Annesley putting every club on notice that it is an area that they are just glancing back at, thinking that we've moved away from looking after the kickers to the extent, the catchers, sorry, and the kickers in the air, that we have a few years ago. But that one...
Bit of a blow-up here. Just have a look at the shoulder from Brandon Smith. Coming in on the Cameron McInnes run. Wade Graham taking a disliking to it.
I've got a penalty at this stage for high tackling.
Yeah, it's a good position to get a penalty too. The elbow was raised. Well, I didn't see that.
Brandon Smith.
Second man in the tackle. He's hit him in the head with his shoulder. It's high, they'll get the penalty, it'll be on report.
And 10 in the bin blocker.
Wow.
Brandon Smith, bin. Shoulder contact to the head. Now some will say it is incidental contact, but the game, the league is saying if you make illegal contact to the head, no matter what the circumstances, then you will pay a price. And it's a shoulder across the bridge of the nose of Cam McInnes.
Yeah, I think you'll find McInnes in the defence of Smith. I think he was dropping down in the tackle. I know he still hit him in the head, but he's coming in second man trying to make a big shot. Anyway, he's paid the penalty now.
And then Brandon has to walk the gauntlet, something his former teammate and captain Cam Smith had to do all those years ago here. Hines for Graham. Clinging to a 4-point lead, Cronulla. Kaufusi wearing 16, but called into the starting pack tonight, back out for his latest stint. Hines, Hamlin, he's pulled down just short. He looked like he was going to trample his way all the way to Botany Bay. Instead, it's another forward. It's Britton Nikora. He goes in for what should be the match-winning try. The forward standing up the Sharks, and Britton Nikora, who always runs hard and true, does again with a reward.
Yeah, you can put it down to the half break there by Ueli. He's played so well in this game, but it's a quick play the ball. A man down again, the Roosters. They go to their right-hand side. Here's the run here. Just watch how quick the play the ball is. Bang, straight up. Caught for numbers. Look at the gap in between. It's on the outside. Corey gets the try.
It's their $1 million man that starts it, and the threat out the back was enough for Swaliti just to race out of the line, and Blake Brayley, beautiful vision. What a try scorer he is, Britton Nikora. But you're right, Matty, it started with Nico Hines, who's been unbelievable in this second half. He isolated well on the edge with Luke Keary, got himself some momentum, speed at the play the ball, and then positioned himself out the back of Nikora, and that was enough just to create the space and isolate Butcher. Boy, it's been a big second half from Nico Hines.
I'll tell you what, he's had a lot of mates too. They've just put the shoulder to the wheel. They've slugged it out in the second half here. All the accolades will go to Nico Hines, but it's been a great team performance. They had to come up with something, the Sharks. After the bye weekend, they need to get their defence right, and they've done it.
He missed the start of the season. This his third game back, and what an imprint he has left on it as he lifts the flags again. But Britton Nikora off the back of Hines, and Braden Hamlin-Welle scores his 4th try of the season. And he crossed in rounds 2, 3 and 4. The New Zealand international, as Mick said, quite the try-scoring edge forward blocker. 8 tries last year in 24 games. He's right on track to blow past that number in an attacking-oriented Sharks team in 2023.
Yeah, it's the way he hit the ball there. He's got wonderful leg speed, got on the outside of his man. At the back end of the game, right at the back end of the game, he's able to come up with a try like that.
Anzac Day, we will honour Australia's servicemen and women, past, present, with the fantastic Anzac Day games. April 25 on Fox League, another sin binning, and it's Victor Radley.
Yeah, have a listen to this, Matty. Victor Radley, there's been plenty of talk through the week about his discipline. He was sin bin last week for hitting Cameron Munster late off the ball. There it is, the home fans just giving him some delight as he heads up the tunnel for an early shower.
He's got to walk up the tunnel yet, that's the real punishment.
At least he'll get the hot water anyway.
He's been sin binned for the 8th time in his career now, Victor. And as was reported this week, they've lost every game, all 6 of them now. Sin binned 8 times, but a couple of times twice in a match. So for the 8th time, they're about to be 0-6 when Victor goes to the bad boys bin.
I reckon there would have been plenty of Roosters mouthing off then because it's Victor Radley. He's the man that gets marched.
We're not done yet in terms of points. The Sharks wanting more. Here's Kennedy. Nico Hines with the ball on a string at the moment, just pushing, flicking, batting that one on. Now back for Hamlin Welly, who asked questions with every carry in the second half. Matt Butcher making the tackle. Hines takes them on, bursts through, copped an ankle tap by Collins, I think. Ball comes free. So the Sharks about to beat the Roosters, having lost Toby Rudolph to a long-term toe injury, having lost Dale Finucane to suspension, and their leader tonight, Nico Hines, their leader for the next 7 years, is pumped up. His teammate celebrates. They've answered a stern challenge from the Roosters, but run in 4 tries to 2 and beaten the Tricolours 22 points to 12.